At the same time, President Biden is planning to continue negotiating with Republicans on the next piece of his legislative agenda, his multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure plan, blowing through his own self-imposed deadline of wrapping up negotiations by Memorial Day. And here's the thing that is puzzling to me about that. Today, Senate Republicans unveiled their counterproposal. The sticker price is $900 billion, less than half of what Biden's original proposal called for, and it takes out a bunch of the most popular parts of the bill. And that sticker price is sort of an illusion. More than $600 billion of those dollars are already in the federal budget and scheduled to be spent on infrastructure projects, bill or no bill. So Republicans are only proposing $257 billion here, which is not at all close to the more than $2 trillion Biden originally proposed. They're also completely swapped how the plan would be paid for. A poll last month out of Monmouth University found that 64% of Americans supported Biden's plan to pay for the bill by raising taxes on corporations, and 65% supported his plan to pay for it by raising taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year. But instead of doing that, Republicans want to redirect funding from the COVID relief package, the same package that many of them are currently bragging to their constituents about, despite having all voted against it. And to top it all off, by lowering the spending this much, they gutted a lot of the most popular parts of the plan, like dropping any mention of the care economy, which would fund things like group homes and health aids for the elderly and disabled, and which 74% of likely voters support, or dropping most of the proposals around clean energy, which 64% of likely voters support. Republicans are hardly negotiating here, and we know from their track record they will likely just vote against the bill in the end and take credit for it anyway. So why is Biden still at the negotiating table? Joining us now is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of Washington, the chair of the House Progressive Caucus, a member of the Budget Committee as well. Representative Jayapal, good to see you. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us tonight. I put that whole question to you. They're not really negotiating. It doesn't look like Republicans are looking for a bipartisan bill. With the Relief Bill, with the Relief Act, the Rescue Plan, the same thing happened. There were negotiations that occurred, and still no Republicans voted for it.
Yeah, that's right, Ali. And, you know, this was an embarrassing counteroffer from the Republicans, what they proposed today. It's all smoke and mirrors. Can you imagine if you were bidding on a house and you put in an offer that was 17% of what the asking price was? You would be laughed out of the street. And so I think that this is a situation where the president has wanted to show, and to be frank, probably needed to show for some of the more conservative Democrats in the Senate that he's making an effort with Republicans. But the reality is they're going to drag this out for a long time. They haven't budged. They're not proposing anything so far that is even remotely close to what the president has said he wants to do. And so I think the time has run out. We need to move forward quickly. All of the polling that you showed was very similar to what we saw for the rescue plan, which only got more and more popular as time went on and is extremely popular as people get shots in their arms, money in their pockets, their kids are going back to school. There's, you know, some light coming into their homes. Well, here is another place where the American Jobs and Families Plan, extremely, extremely popular. And we are also pushing to make sure that we have some really important and populist things in there, like expanding Medicare eligibility, extremely popular across Republicans, Democrats, and independents. But none of that moves forward if we don't quickly say to the Republicans, we're done negotiating. You haven't produced anything in good faith. We need to deliver for the American people. They expect us to, and it's urgent.
So here's the question. As they inch toward each other, and at this pace, it will take many, many months to get anywhere close to a deal. If, as you say, the president decides this isn't worth it, we're taking out too much valuable stuff from this bill, does he then settle at the last White House proposal, or do we go back to what the original proposal was in the case of the jobs plan, the infrastructure bill? How do they approach it at that point?
No, this was a mistake actually that was made during the Obama administration where they negotiated with Republicans. They came down significantly. And then at the end of the day, no Republicans went along and voted for that either. And, and then I think we saw that that package was far too small to really do what we needed to do to jumpstart the economy. I do think that the president has learned from that lesson, and certainly the people around him have learned from that lesson. He has said multiple times, the problem will not be that we go too big. The problem will be that we go too small. And so I think we go back to the original proposal. And of course, we progressives are calling for an even bigger proposal than what the president proposed. And we combine the Jobs and Families Plan. We do it as one once-in-a-generation investment that gets care to people, that gets infrastructure in all of its forms to people, that fixes our schools, our water system, so much more. And we give hope back to the American people as we create jobs and we allow families to thrive and survive.